State conducts council election in 20 local government areas. Growing concern of campus cohabitation, Osrc correspondent digs into implications of student lives. Adamawa State government imposes curfew on community following insecurity reports. And from the foreign scene, Palestinians express pessimism over ceasefire negotiation with Israel. This is Flagship News on Osrc News at 7. I am Adebimpe Akindele. Thank you for joining us. Residents of Lagos have expressed satisfaction with the conduct of today's local government elections in the state. They noted that the presence of electoral officials, party agents, and calm atmosphere at polling units ensured a peaceful and transparent exercise. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu described the local government elections as peaceful and well organized, commending the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission for ensuring a smooth exercise. Sanwo-Olu, accompanied by his wife, Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, cast his vote at polling unit 6, Ward E3, located at Adeniji-Adele, Lagos Island. He noted that while there were minor delays in early morning movement due to limited public transportation, the electoral materials and officials were available across polling units. In the same vein, Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, praised the peaceful conduct of the council elections. The Speaker commended the process as remarkable and encouraging. Also, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission described the Lagos Council poll as peaceful and orderly. The Director Zona of Lagos Directorate 2 of EFCC, Ahmed Ghali, gave the assessment while monitoring the election process across various polling units in the state. He said from the reports and information the Commission gathered, voting went on peacefully. Ghali also commended the conduct of voters, electoral officers, and security personnel, noting that no signs of malpractice were observed. Meanwhile, many residents chose to stay away from the polling units, citing a lack of faith in the electoral process. Throughout the morning, streets in several communities remained largely deserted, with many residents watching from their apartment windows or sitting idly outside their homes, showing no interest in voting. Several residents voiced their disillusionment with the system, noting that they have lost confidence in INEC's ability to deliver credible elections. Although electoral officers were present in 7 polling units, the general atmosphere remained subdued, with only a handful of voters seen casting their ballots. In the meantime, with the Lagos local government elections held today, the Chief Judge of Lagos State, Justice Kazeem Alugba, has inaugurated 2 local government election appeal tribunals. Each panel, which will sit simultaneously on Lagos Island and in Ikeja, is made up of 4 chief magistrates and is chaired by a retired High Court judge. Justice Taufikat Onyikon Abdullah will lead the Lagos Island panel, while the Ikeja panel will be chaired by Justice Sherifa Solebo. Speaking at the inauguration in Ikeja, Justice Alugba charged the tribunal members to carry out their responsibilities with utmost integrity, fairness, and fidelity to the law. He reminded them of the importance of working within the time frame stipulated in the 2016 amendment of the Lagos State Local Government Law, which provides 21 days for filing petitions after the declaration of election results and 45 days for tribunal sittings. A worrying trend has emerged in Nigerian higher institutions where students are adopting a couple's lifestyle, living together as husband and wife while still in school. This phenomenon has sparked intense debate with opinions sharply divided. While some students view it as a display of love and independence, child development, experts and advocates for good parenting strongly disagree. Omoriola Ngbeji reports.
Though not entirely new, the practice of students cohabiting on campus has become a growing and disturbing norm in many tertiary institutions. Often, these relationships end in heartbreak or futility as many go their separate ways after graduation. But a lingering question remains: should couples' life be encouraged in academic environments?
Opinion differs. Well, in my own opinion, I think it's very bad for a student to be living a couple's life in campus because, number one, that is not the main reason why you are there. And I think everything starts from home.
A public commentator, Kayode Oladipupo, condemned the practice, highlighting its adverse effects on the emotional and academic well-being of students.
It is suffice for us to tell the public, particularly the young people, that it is a dangerous game that has disastrous effects on people's life in many diverse ways. One, it could be likened to a situation whereby somebody is eating an unripe fruit. There's no way you bite an unripe fruit that will not leave sour taste in your mouth.
To former special advisor to the governor on gender, Olamide Falano, the trend is on the rise daily, exposing young, mentally vulnerable students to emotional and psychological strain.
When you have students who begin to live couple's life, even with a boy while in school, that is failure of parenting, basically. Secondly, it's also failure of values. Because a young girl who knows that she has a future will not want to begin to eat that future while she's still very young, And that is why you find so many of these young girls who fall prey of individuals who eventually mess up with their brains. And that's one of the reasons why we have so many cases of mental issues, people who are depressed in society. Because the brain and psychological capacity of an adolescent girl or a young lady is not strong enough to withstand the nitty-gritty of adult life, which comes also living couples' life, because they are already living as if they are married. And we all know, those of us who are not know that married life and adult life is a lot of work, which they are not even prepared to go through yet. So I see it as also a failure of the value system of our society.
While some respondents blamed the situation on poor parenting and the lack of adequate accommodation within campuses, they all agreed on one point: urgent intervention is needed.
It is one that we all must come together and say no to. Parents will be awake to their duties when it comes to providing shelter for their children while they are in school. Children also should be open to their parents about their challenges, and also adhere to the values that their parents brought them up upon while they are back home. I mean, again, we also have our education system. There are many universities now that do not have adequate provision for accommodation. University communities should endeavor to encourage investors to build hostels that the school will manage.
Unfortunately, parents are not at home. They are not available. So somebody has to do the work. So I think the government should also lean backward and see how they can incorporate social workers into children education. Okay. And there should be well-taught counselors in various schools who can be of help. Okay. And this should go beyond certificated counselors. It should be people who are faith-based and who take the work seriously.
Critics call on government, school authorities, parents, faith-based groups, and community organizations to take stronger action in reshaping students' values and safeguarding the future of the nation. Omoriola Ngbeji, Osrc News.
New immigration visa policies put Nigerians at a disadvantage under US-UAE visa rules. Plus other stories after the break.
Nigeria's commitment to achieving universal health care coverage is reflected in the unwavering dedication of my administration to uphold this right for every individual, young or old, in rural or urban areas. Health is not merely the absence of disease, but the embodiment of physical, mental, and social well-being. It is a fundamental human right.
Nigeria as a global agricultural powerhouse, supplying quality produce to international markets while ensuring every citizen has access to affordable nutrition.
Powered by Grassroots Movement for Tinubu GMT, Ondo State Chapter, GMT. In God we trust.
Thank you for rejoining us. Be reminded that you can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at OSRC TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. Now to the rest of the news. The administrator of River State, Vice Admiral Ibok Eketi Bas, retired, has expressed disappointment over the slow pace of work at the River State House of Assembly Complex project. He described the phase of work grossly abysmal and failing far below expectations. The administrator made the remarks during inspection tour of some project sites in Port Harcourt. Ibas also inspected key sporting facilities, including Yakubu Gowon Stadium and Alfred Dietes Spieth Sports Complex, to assess their readiness for hosting sporting events. He stated that the contractor's performance was unacceptably slow, contrary to agreed upon timelines. To address the delays, the administrator directed the contractor to immediately intensify efforts and expedite work to meet the project's deadline. The Lagos State Coroner's Court in Ikorodu has ordered the Director of Public Prosecutions to prosecute Feyi Shayo Ogedengbe, the auxiliary nurse who administered an injection on Nigerian singer Ilerioluwa Aloba, popularly known as Mohbad, before his death. Delivering her ruling, Magistrate C.A. Shotobi held that Ogedengbe was neither a registered nurse nor a licensed medical practitioner, and therefore acted unlawfully by administering the tetanus injection that reportedly triggered the complications resulting in the singer's death. The coroner expressed concern over regulatory lapses in the health sector, allowing unqualified individuals to operate as healthcare providers. The court also ordered an investigation into the Nigeria Police failure to act on Mohbad's petition against Naira Marley and Sam Larry before his death. Additionally, the coroner blamed Mohbad's father for the hasty burial without an autopsy and his wife for treating him at home instead of seeking proper medical attention. Mohbad, a 27-year-old Afrobeat star, died under mysterious circumstances on September 12, 2023, prompting a special investigation team to be formed. The Adamawa State Governor, Ahmadu Fintiri, has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Lamude local government area with immediate effect. Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Hunwashi Wosioku, said the directive followed recent violent attacks and breaches of peace in some communities within the area. He warned that anyone or group of people found contravening the directive will be arrested and dealt with according to the law. The governor appealed to residents of Lamude local government area to shun rumor mongering and cooperate with security agencies to restore normalcy in the area. According to him, The government is committed to protecting lives and property, as well as ensuring the safety of all citizens. President Bola Tinubu has endorsed the 2025 edition of All Africa Music Awards scheduled to hold in Lagos from November 25 to 30th. Tinubu's endorsement came in response to a letter from the African Union Commission requesting Nigeria's collaboration for the next edition of the prestigious awards show. Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, Hannatu Musawa, earlier inaugurated an inter-ministerial local organizing committee to work with the host city, African Union, and international community of AFAMA to plan and deliver a historic event. Speaking during the inauguration, the minister said AFAMA aligned with President Tinubu's vision of leveraging the creative industry as a key driver of economic growth, national development, and social re-engineering. He commended the Lagos state government for accepting to be official host city and for its partnership as well as its investment in the creative industry. There's a growing concern among Nigerians following the latest visa restrictions announced by the United States of America and the United Arab Emirates. Many view the new policies unfair and targeted particularly towards students, business travelers, and tourists who frequently journey to these countries. In this report, Osrc's Blessing Obey takes a look at the changes and the attendant reactions of some Nigerians. The report is presented from our studio.
In recent times, a number of countries have tightened their immigration policies, introducing stricter visa rules as part of broader efforts to regulate entry. The United States announced that beginning July 8, 2025, Nigerians applying for non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas will be issued only single-entry visas, valid for only 3 months. This marks a significant shift from the previous policy, which allowed multiple entries for up to 2 years or more. U.S. authorities say the decision is in line with President Donald Trump's reciprocal visa policy and ongoing efforts to safeguard the country's immigration system. Simultaneously, the United Arab Emirates, a top travel destination for Nigerians, has also introduced stiffer visa requirements. Under the new UAE rules, Nigerian applicants between the ages of 18 and 45 will no longer be granted tourist visas unless accompanied by someone. Those aged 45 and above must now submit a personal bank statement showing a monthly balance of at least $10,000, approximately 15 million naira, over 6 months. This development follows the recent lifting of a 2-year visa ban on Nigeria by the UAE. Other countries, including the UK and Canada, have also implemented similar restrictions in recent months. The federal government of Nigeria has expressed concern over these new policies and is calling for a review in the spirit of mutual respect and diplomatic cooperation. Many Nigerians are worried about the ripple effect, especially for those who depend on frequent travel to the US and UAE for business, education, or personal reasons.
The ultimate of Donald Trump's policies concerning visa and immigrant to the US is probably to reduce the incursion of illegal immigrants into the country. And probably this stems from the fact that most of the citizens who believe very much in him believe that immigrants have taken over some of the job opportunities they have, and in order to pay way for them, they must find a means of deterring them coming to their country. So I would think this is part of the thing that is responsible for all these tumbles of restriction.
Many more people will now be forced to stay indoors, that is, stay within Nigeria, and no provision for them, either to eat or even to find work. So that is the negative side of it. The positive side of it is that if we are forced to remain, then we will think of what to do to make us exist, to make us excel. Otherwise, if we are following this easy way, that is going out, we will not think of what to do. If we don't face challenges, we will not think of improvement.
The call now is for Nigerians to see these developments as a wake-up call to reform its passport system, strengthen foreign policy, and improve the country's global image. Blessing Obe, Osrc News.
Prominent personalities, including the United Nations Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, President Bola Tinubu, and members of the diplomatic corps, are among dignitaries expected at the public unveiling of the book Towards Effective World Security, authored by one of Nigeria's finest writers, Uchenna Nwankwo. Organizers of the event said the launch tonight is expected to draw a distinguished array of national and international figures. The book argues that the current structure of the United Nations, particularly the dominance of the big five permanent members of the Security Council, has hindered its ability to maintain world peace. Nwankwo also contends that these major powers have usurped the due powers of the legislative arm of the United Nations, rendering the General Assembly an inferior legislature. The book proposes concrete interventions, including a roadmap to a reasonable multipolar world order, a dedicated study of the Russo-Ukraine conflict with potential resolutions, and a comprehensive roadmap to formidable world security. Now moving directly to the foreign scene, a pharmacist from Sudan named Gama Musa is among several migrants seeking a better life in Europe. His arrival comes as Greek lawmakers voted to temporarily stop processing asylum. The Sudanese says it wants peace and safety. Akintunde Akishimola has more.
Musa lies on the floor of an exhibition hall in Agia, Crete in Greece. He's joined in a temporary shelter by others who have crossed from Libya in an effort to reach Europe.
Libya, it means the road to reach Greece, the road, because there are no options, there is no any way to go.
Thousands of irregular migrants have been rescued by the Greek Coast Guard of Crete in recent days, according to the Athens government. Hundreds of them are sheltered here in Agia amid sweltering summer temperatures. Musa says he paid $5,000 for him and his wife, also a pharmacist, to reach Greece. He fled Sudan over what he said was persecution of those working in medical trades.
Right now, I am searching about the peace and safety.
Amid a surge in arrivals, Greek lawmakers have voted to temporarily stop processing asylum requests from migrants arriving from North Africa by sea. Rights groups and opposition parties have called the ban illegal and accused Greece of forcefully turning back asylum seekers on its sea and land borders. The government denies wrongdoing. The law halts asylum processing for at least 3 months and allows authorities to quickly repatriate migrants without any prior identification process. At the temporary shelter in Agia, Musa says he has no intention of returning to Sudan and wants to reach the Netherlands to continue his education and acquire a PhD. He says he is determined to stay in Europe. Akintunde Akishimola for Osrc News.
Negotiations between Israel and Hamas in Qatar and a new Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal are on the brink of collapse. Palestinian officials familiar with the details of the discussions claimed that Israel had bought time during Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington this week and deliberately stalled the process by sending a delegation to Doha with no real authority to make decisions on key points of contention. Before he left the U.S. on Thursday, Netanyahu had maintained a positive tone, saying he hoped to complete an agreement in a few days. He said the proposed deal would see Hamas release half of the 20 living hostages it is still holding and just over half of the 30 dead hostages during a truce lasting 60 days. Since last Sunday, Israeli and Hamas negotiators have attended 8 rounds of indirect proximity talks in separate buildings in Doha, but with limited progress. Still from the foreign in this time to sports, America's Noah Lyles has made another statement of his ability in the 200-meter sprint as he coasted home in victory at the Monaco Diamond League. Lyles finished the race in a time of 19.88 seconds, running into a headwind while competing in his first 200-meter race since the Olympic final and beating Leslie Tebogo of Botswana. In the women's 100 meters, St. Lucia's Julien Alfred was dominant in 10.79 seconds despite a headwind of 1.4 meters per second. It was her third 10.7 second 100 meters race in a row. Olympic champion Malady Paulino of Dominican Republic got a big challenge from NCAA champion Aliyah Butler, who ran a personal best time of 49.09 seconds in the 400 meters women race.
He's a 3-time consecutive world champion over 200 meters. The only 200-meter races he's lost in the last 4 years. The big drive there from Leslie Tebogo. Looked like he almost fell out of the blocks. The Olympic champion, just as they enter the straight, is on terms with Noah Lyles. These two side by side down the home straight here. Lyles going to the arms. Lyles trying to hold off Leslie Tebogo, and he does it. What a way to return to the circuit. Noah Lyles, 1988. Olympic champion was convincingly beaten by Melissa Jefferson Wooden last week. Let's see what she can manage here in Monaco. She is the favourite here. Good start from Sears, the American, putting Alfred under pressure. Alfred looked tense in Prefontaine, and she perhaps looks tense here again in the second half. But there goes Julian Alfred, there goes the Olympic champion. It is another 10.7, 10.79 for Alfred. The first 50 metres was perhaps a bit laboured, but perhaps it was Sears that was having a blinder. Lady Paulino has placed Sean Miller-Weibo as the #1 when you look at championships in the last few years. All the way pretty even here. Perhaps Lika Klaver just closing up some ground there on Alea Butler, the American. It's Butler, Paulino, Price and Bukowiecka all side by side. Alea Butler trying to replicate what Bella Whittaker has done in the Diamond League and taking an American win here in the 400. But Paulino in the last 5 metres does it, gets herself ahead of Butler. 49.07, not the quickest time for Lady Paulino of her season and not...
With those sprinting clips, we end the news tonight. Before we go, we take a look at some of the top stories. Lagos State has conducted its local government elections to pick chairmen and councillors for 20 local government areas of the coastal state. Also, you heard that worried by the growing Congress concern of cohabitation in Nigeria's tertiary institutions, Osrc correspondent has highlighted the dangers of living couples life in campus. And we also told you that Adamawa State Governor Ahmadu Fintiri has imposed a 24-hour curfew on Lamude Council area following recent violent attacks within the area. Lastly, from the foreign scene, you heard that negotiations between Israel and Hamas on a new Gaza ceasefire seems to be on the brink of collapse. Thank you for watching the news tonight. My name is Adebimpe Akindele. Good night.